Your subconscious is in an anxiety state. What does this mean? What does it mean for your subconscious state, your subconscious mind, to be in an anxiety state? What is your subconscious? Well, first you need to know what your conscious mind is. What is your conscious mind? Your conscious mind is usually the thing that you're doing and you're aware of doing it. So when you stand up, you've willingly stood up. You've stood up consciously. You consciously made a decision to stand up. When you walk, you consciously make a decision to walk. When you're chewing food, you consciously make a decision to chew food. Now, when you're breathing and you're not thinking about breathing, like now, obviously, I've mentioned breathing, so you're actually thinking about breathing. But when you're breathing, majority of the time, your subconscious is in control. Your body is in control of the breathing. It's automatic. It just happens. You just breathe. Like when you're sleeping, you're not consciously aware that you're breathing. Your body's breathing for you. And if your body didn't do that, then obviously you'd pass away. Like, because we need to survive on oxygen. So essentially, your subconscious is anything that you're doing. So anything you do and you're not consciously aware of it, that's essentially your subconscious. So what does it mean for your subconscious to be in an anxiety state? So I have mentioned to you previously in previous videos that anxiety is a response. It's all psychological. It's an emotional state. And it can come in different forms. Essentially, there's two things. Obviously, anxiety isn't stress, but it's very similar. Like when you're anxious, you're in a stressed state essentially, because you're not, in control as much as you would like to be. Like I made a video yesterday saying anxiety is essentially your inability to deal with the threat. So it's quite similar to today's video, where obviously if your subconscious is in an anxiety state, and obviously anxiety can come in different shapes and forms. Some people, they freeze. Other people, they tend to close their body, like have closed body language. Some people, they like actually physically like shiver, like vibration, like it's like a nervous breakdown. Some people have that when they're anxious. Some people, they stress, so they start panicking, and it's all like in their mind and thoughts and stuff like that. So anxiety can come in the form of physical and also like, mental, so psychological, physiological. How do people tend to get anxiety subconsciously? How can you subconsciously be anxious? Well, firstly, it takes being consciously anxious over a long period of time. So let's say every day you're just always just thinking or anxiously, waiting for something, or there's a situation that has arose, a family member has had like a bad experience, and now you're anxious, hoping that they will be okay and, recover and stuff like that. So it can come in different forms, shapes and forms. And most of the time, it's just genuinely your thoughts, because obviously you have stress and you have stressors. Stress essentially is just your response to the stressor. So if you can respond calmly, thinking positively, thinking objectively about your problem, then you're less likely to allow anxiety to form into your subconscious state. However, if you allow a stressor to keep targeting you and affecting you negatively, then of course, eventually it's going to become something that's more subconscious. Because your body, like literally, it repeats what you've taught it. Essentially, your body repeats what you've taught it, and in that repetition, essentially, when you're subconsciously doing things, your body's repeating what you've done consciously. I know this might be a lot to digest, but just, stay with me and actually understand the concept of what I'm saying. So obviously you have two things, stress and stressors. You have your subconscious mind and your conscious mind. Obviously, consciously you can make decisions, and subconsciously your body obviously, just caters to the things that it needs to do or it's already learned doing. So like breathing, your body has learned how to breathe to keep you alive. But eventually, obviously, if you teach yourself to keep breathing, if you improve deep breathing, eventually your subconscious mind learns and actually adopts that. And then eventually it starts breathing deeply. Almost like when I was mentioning mewing in like a previous video, when I was talking about mewing, when you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, when you start off, you have to keep making that conscious decision. I need to keep putting my tongue on my mouth. And sometimes you forget, but it's just that constant reminder to put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And then eventually your body knows, okay, whilst I'm asleep, I need to put my tongue. Your body just knows what to do because you've done it over a period of time. So now it's comfortable with it. You've formed a habit. It's quite similar to, this isn't a common concept, but it can actually help you. Even the mewing thing can help you as well, because then obviously you're breathing through your nose, less likely to be anxious. People that like shallow breathe, like breathe, they're more likely to be in an anxiety state because they're just they're not actually like putting all the oxygen into their lungs and allowing that oxygen to go through their whole body. They're just, and like, I catch myself breathing like that sometimes where I'm like shallow breathing. But anyway, so this isn't a common concept where people have started to realize that at night they tend to be mouth breathers and they tend to like breathe through their mouth. So now a lot of people start using porous tape, which you can put on your mouth, and it's actually safe to do so. It's good for your, like, it doesn't affect your skin or anything. So they actually put like a piece of tape, and I used to do this, and I need to actually start doing it more often again. Well, basically, essentially, it closes your lips, so at night you can breathe through your nose, and then that's like massively, there's so much like benefits to that. Like obviously, we're not meant to breathe through our mouths, like inhale and exhale through our mouth. It's safe to exhale through your mouth. However, it's detrimental, it's bad to breathe through your mouth, like to inhale through your mouth. But some people say it's okay, some people say it's not okay. But the majority of the studies that I've looked at, it's better to just breathe through your nose. And if you really like, if you want to have like longer exhales, so if you want to breathe out longer, then obviously use your mouth. And if you want to improve that even more, like have a pursed lip. So just leave a little gap in the middle of your lips and just blow through to like release air. And essentially what this does so I feel like I'm like explaining each part just so you really understand what I'm talking about. So let's say every time you take a deep inhale through your nose and you release it, if the release is longer, so if your exhale is longer than the inhale, then you're reducing your heart rate. So you're essentially making yourself calm. So this is actually like a really helpful tip. If you find yourself in like an anxious state, try to take a deep breath in. And remember, I showed you in yesterday's previous video how to like do like a proper breath. So obviously you breathe through your nose all the way. You want to like actually see the expand on your belly. Like you want to see your belly expand. And then also you want to go even deeper so that you can see your chest like rise out as well. So it's like, and then on the exhale, you want to make sure that it's even longer. All the way, breathe it all out. And essentially, the longer your exhale, the slower your heart rate. So of course, if you want to be more calm, if you want to, you know, think less about these things that are worrying you, then essentially you want to have this type of breathing pattern. If you're looking for more like of an energy state, and all this information is from a doctor called Dr. Andrew Huberman, so it's not like I'm just telling you this from like experience. But essentially, if you want to increase your heart rate and you want to give yourself like a pump of energy, essentially all you need to do is just flip it around. So essentially a longer inhale and a really fast, like essentially you're just like trying to have the fastest exhale as possible. So a deep inhale, so essentially your exhale is quick. And actually, weirdly enough, I feel like already I have more energy just from doing that. So if you wanna have more energy and like you wanna be more like, aware and stuff like that, a fast exhale, longer inhale. If you wanna calm down and slow your heart rate, long inhale and even longer exhale. So that's essentially what you can do to like slow or fasten your heart rate. For anxiety, of course, I would recommend longer exhales. Like I know I was doing studies on like monks and like Buddha monks and stuff like that. And they actually tend to exhale for 1 minute, 60 seconds exhaling. Like imagine exhaling for 60 seconds. Like imagine sitting somewhere doing a nice deep in breath and then exhaling for 60 seconds, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Crazy. So genuinely, I do believe like breathing obviously can help anxiety, but I think it's important that you know that there are stressors and then there's stress. Stressors are the things that can cause the stress, can cause the pain or, the burden, the conflict in your mind, the negative thoughts. And stress is how you respond to that situation. So if if I'm holding a brick right now and that drops on my toe, the impact of the brick on my toe, the pain that I'm feeling on my toe is the stress. That is the stress, or the stressor, should I say. That's the stressor. So that's the thing that's causing, the stress to either become worse. And essentially how I respond to that is the stress. So the pain, the impact is the stressor. The stress is how I respond to it. So obviously stress is good. Like everyone needs stress. Like every body movement we make is a form of stress. Like if I lift my arm, there's certain like ligaments and like muscle groups in my arm. When I lift it, like that's causing stress on my arm. When I relax it again, the stress is, calmer. So essentially similar to this, if the brick drops on my foot or my toe, essentially that brick hitting my toe would be the stressor. But if I'm calm about the situation, obviously like extreme case scenario, like like if I drop a knife and it goes in my toe, God forbid, if a knife drops on my toe or my foot and like it cuts me, of course I'm gonna react. But let's just say a brick and like I'm wearing, shoes. A brick drops on my toe. Yes, it hurts, but how I respond to that situation, am I gonna be panicking? Am I gonna be shouting, wailing, jumping about, increasing my heart rate? Or am I just acknowledge the pain, take a deep breath in and breathe it out and just keep repeating? So remember, it's always about how you react to the stress. So most of the time, a lot of people go through anxiety and they don't know that like everyone goes through the emotions or the feeling of anxiety, but the way they handle it is different. The way you handle the anxiety is actually the root to either the fixing the problem or, making it worse, essentially. Do you want to make the situation worse? Do you want to make your anxiety worse? If you want to make your anxiety worse, when you have these thoughts in your mind, keep stressing, keep worrying. If you want to fix the situation, Find resolutions, take deep breaths, write down your problems. These are all actionable steps. The problem is with today's society, no one wants to even sit down in front of in front of their screen and like watch someone tell them like what to do and stuff like that, or how to fix their situation, because their mind, they can't even focus for like 1 minute. Like most people have probably clicked away from this video because you can't even sit down and watch this video in entirety. Meanwhile, I'm here paying attention to you, trying to help your situation. So it's truly about, do you really need help with this thing, or are you just, just here to binge watch content or just consume? And I do appreciate it. Obviously, I get a view, and the views help, I guess, because then the more views I get, the more people will be shown this video. But are you just going to be a consumer? Or are you going to be a consumer and take action? Will you write this information I'm giving you down? So guys, I do have a Patreon, and I would highly, highly, heavily recommend you guys, if you are going through anxiety. I truly do believe everyone goes through anxiety, and you wouldn't know everything about it. And I'm still learning, but I'm learning so much more because I'm focused on this specific thing. I'm watching content on it, reading books, educating myself, taking action on these things as well. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm like breathing, practicing breathing meditation, getting more in touch with my spiritual side, like my religion, Christianity, you know, taking care of my diet, my health, etc., etc. Because I want to be able to be the person that practices what they preach. If I'm telling you, like, don't think negative, don't worry, don't stress yourself out, and I'm stressed out, I'm worried, I'm having negative thoughts, and I'm not like trying to find the solution to them, then what's the point of me helping you here? But if I know I've tackled this situation, I've gone through anxiety, depression, stress, and I've been able to manage it and effectively turn it around for good, then of course I can sit here and tell you, give you advice, etc., etc. Because where you've stumbled on, I can repair that. I can tell you, oh yeah, I had a similar experience here. That's the reason I keep telling you, come on the Patreon, be a member. I'll be dropping as much advice as possible there. And if you need that extra coaching, if you need like someone to give you consultancy, maybe you just need someone to talk to, I'll be here for you. I'll listen to you, to your problems. Now, what I'll do is I'll actually reduce the one-on-one coaching for a short period of time. So if you're early, then it'll be cheaper for you guys. But just know that in the future, when there are a lot of people, I will increase that price, and it won't be the same price. Also with the Patreon, the price remains as it is now. The earlier you get on, over time it will start to increase. So usually the best time to like get into these type of things is now. But I'm not forcing anyone. I'm not trying to change anyone. You make that decision. You take the action. It's been your boy Paul Khadar. Check out my Patreon. We out. Peace.